Welcome to the Mise-en-Scene Weekly podcast, where we harken back to our college debate days and pick two movies of the same theme to kneel down like Monica with Bill. This week's episode turns 18, like probably no one here watching, and finally able to vote, which probably is the fourth best thing that you could do at the age of 18. But we've got Wag the Dog versus In the Loop, two politically focused movies where cover-ups are no different than cover downs. Come join Jonathan and Steven for another week of desirably less plot chatter and hopefully more film banter. We are Scene Weekly, and welcome to Whitehaven.
Ooh, a little Sauvignon Blanc.
That is correct. Marlboro.
Question. What is the top three things that you can do when you're 18? Because you said number 4 was voting. I'm curious to learn what the other 3 are.
Well, if you were a nice OnlyFans woman and you were attractive, you could do that with your body. Okay. You could also do many other things such as lotto tickets and smoking cigarettes.
Ooh.
You know, some of those seem desirable to
various
individuals. A lot of life is a vice, I would say. And maybe some people have vices with political natured videos or creations or movies, with that being said. But cheers to you. How was your day? Yeah. And what are you drinking?
I'm doing a little bit of the Cougar Juice Chardonnay here. This is the decoy.
The Cougar Juice Chardonnay.
That's what we call it at the restaurant. Yeah.
Amazing. So did you actually, I won't actually ask that question, but cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers. Cheers. I get all my slurping involved here.
The amount of wine glasses that we have gone through, and I wouldn't say even as a family, because I don't want to put myself in the situation of not family, but broken wine glasses is outrageous. I mean, we probably go through one every 2 months broken.
Oh, wow.
My wife. Yeah.
Does that happen in the dishwasher, or is it just like,
nope.
Like what's going on?
With like boop, the boop, oh, drop. Oh, I mean, it's like any combination of things, but I would say mostly hitting it, you know, she's had LASIK surgery and it appears it has not been well. Like not a good turn of events for her eyes.
On average, who's breaking more wine glasses, you or your wife?
Who do you think? I have broken probably 2 in a 12-year period.
Yeah, I go stemless here. These don't break very rarely.
So that's why I got into this conversation. That doesn't seem like it would break very often.
I've had this for 5 or 6 years, probably.
There you go. But maybe you just don't break things. Do you break like plates and, you know, I assume you're not so angry that you're throwing things against the wall, but.
No, but I mean, like I've said before, I work in a restaurant and I see, like we do this thing called breakage wars with the staff, where it's basically like, it's a contest where you're an individual, and if you break something, you're out. It's kind of like Hunger Games. Like you break something, you're done. Right. And the last person standing at the end of the month or whatever it is, however long it goes, wins, you know, a prize or something like that.
It's kind of like the thing on the board where it's like the chalkboard, like 0 days since the last incident.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. Yeah. Because I mean, it's expensive. We go through a lot of plates and wine glasses and things like that. So, you know,
when you fell with the light bulb in your hand and you have still, I guess, some particular issues, did somebody on the board go, well, he broke something. Sorry about that. And how quickly did that happen?
Yeah, it happened immediately. Like that, I was still like lying on the floor bleeding. You're out. Yeah, you're done.
You gotta get out. Well, one is the hands, so you should have been receiving of some good towels.
I did.
Did you know there was a footballer, and like English footballer recently, that had been playing? Maybe he's French. Been playing with a piece of glass like this big in his foot for 2 years.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Let's just leave it at that. And
sounds like a Disney movie where he just was able to kick the ball extra hard or something like that.
yeah, right.
Rookie of the year.
I don't want to bring up soccer again because I feel like, you know, you were angry last time I talked about soccer and having soccer on my mind. But nonetheless, we have 2 movies this week, just complete mistakes and misquotes in their entirety, and or mishappenings or the attempt to cover things up. And I just want to say, off the bat, I've been thinking about this largely because I didn't choose this movie. You chose both.
I
And so
did. Yeah.
I actually have a backstory to this, and I have thought probably way too much about this. And I thought, and I had this question like well into the episode, I would say, do you think that you would be a very politically sound person, like in the public eye and maybe running for mayor, or if you have bigger dreams to possibly go as governor? I don't know, start off small, go big, who knows? So do you think that you'd be pretty good? Because I as long as I've known you, which is a long time, you're very good at sitting on fences, I think, and
Sitting on fences.
not offending people, whereas I'm just like a complete asshole, and I don't think I'd be very good at politics, but maybe I can hone it in. But I'm curious, do you think you'd be good politically
Well, I
in the
think
public?
your style of how you claim to be would serve you well in this today's kind of climate with being very loud and vocal and bombastic. But me, like the closest thing I ever got was like student vice president in junior high school or
Ooh,
something like that. I did run, did a little campaign.
what was your
Um,
campaign?
I can't remember for like extra recess.
Um,
Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
yeah. I mean, if you remember Matt McCall, who's the former like director of operations for basketball at University of Florida, in seventh grade we had a basketball camp together. But in seventh grade or eighth grade, and in seventh grade he was class president, and he ran as Ace Ventura, where he just basically just did the same thing, vending machines, recess, and then just acted as Ace Ventura, and of course he won. Like it
did he
just
deliver though on his promises?
on it. No, does any seventh grader deliver on their promises? You're gonna have 800 vending machines. You couldn't go 2 feet with that. No, none of that happens. Like, it's all whatever. But nonetheless,
Lies.
I think you would be very good and political. And I say this because of this. First of all, I don't think I'm bombastic. I just think I speak from the heart, and I speak from sometimes the hip, as some may even quantify or qualify it to be. But with that being said, I gave you All the President's Men, and you said that's not really a political movie, and I was like, well, it's entirely focused on politics. And then you always have this thing. It's kind of like talking to my wife, where it's like I have to figure out your emotions and your feelings, and so I have to like pick and pry. This is where the political side is, where you're not very open about things, and like
Uh-huh.
what do you think about this? And then like I have to push you to give me an answer, and then like I have to try to figure out exactly the parameters for which you desire things to be, which is complicated. It's sometimes hard. It is hard. But I wanted to say this. So I had an idea. You were pressing me to come up with something else. So I gave you like 3 or 4 ideas, and you chose Wag the Dog. You hearted it. You didn't choose it, actually. You just hearted it. So I assumed, again, I would rather have a direct answer. Choose Wag the Dog. Like I'm a Neanderthal by nature, so I would prefer to have just an actual
Well, you
answer.
figured it out. You had understood the heart like emoji.
Sure, it just would be much easier in life. But I was wondering, was this your master plan politically? Like you were trying to brush up on your political nature, your political ideology of creating
Look,
this outward realm of like moving me into what you wanted politically without having to
there.
say the words, in
Yeah,
essence
yeah,
of building up to this episode
I like what you're doing here.
as
Yeah,
like a bit. Is this
yeah.
your bit?
I just there's a lot of inner workings going behind the scenes that you just don't know about, and I do have to, like you said, kind of not teeter one way or the other, but still kind of nudge you a certain way. And I think I succeeded in that regard
But
because we got my movies.
why wouldn't you just say it? Like, I don't want to do that.
Oh, because it needs to be the presumption of you to feel like you chose it, which I
So I
feel
didn't
like.
feel, and I'll never feel like that. Secondarily, it's gonna backfire. So my point is this, and I'm glad you answered in this way because I was interested in this. I think it's a slow burn because you're gonna get me to give up choosing, like ultimately forever.
It's a
Like I
battle
don't
of
want.
wills.
Yeah, and my second point is this: politically, is this your desire to create this angst so that a second host comes on?
No, no, not at all. I'm not trying to make you resign or get you.
That's how I
The
feel because the anger inside of me when I have these communications with you, it's infuriating.
Oh well, let's just lay it
Yeah,
out on the line.
I did.
I know.
All you have to say is, I don't want this. This is what I'm saying. I just feel it'd be much easier to say that. But anyway,
Here's the real reason.
God damn.
Here's the real reason. I'm using a lot of these movies to talk about is something that I want to kind of explore, something that I haven't seen before, and I literally just watched All the President's Men a couple months ago, and it's a good
So
movie.
you did say that, but you also watched Incendies recently.
That was a For You film, so that was something that I had to choose for you that I've seen. So that's there goes your logic. But
No, but it's recent.
Yeah,
A For You film that is irrelevant, you know.
That's true.
Because I could have a For You film that I haven't seen before, which I have one actually. That's
you do, yeah.
So my point is this: in the future, you could just say, "Nope, I just saw it," and I would be like, "Oh, thank you so much. I don't have to deal with the wifery, if you will." But what's your thoughts on the dog? By the way, have you had? What's your first dog actually?
Oh,
are you a dog or cat guy?
I've always been a dog person, but I do appreciate cats. For all those cat people out there, I'm not hating on cats. I actually had a cat for a while named Piedmont. But
Piedmont.
Growing up, it was always dogs. We had,
I
believe my first dog was Java. Then we had, trying to think of all these names. We had Lonnie. We had Beasley.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite dog?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's like choosing a favorite child, Jonathan. That's tough.
My favorite dog was Rebound.
Rebound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I could also choose my favorite child too.
Yeah. You have one child.
These are easy.
Wait till you get the second.
There's no second coming. But I'm definitely a dog person as well. We also had cats. My mom, I didn't know this. Maybe I guess she was a cat lady, considering the fact that we pretty much almost entirely had cats. But we had Rebound, Lady, Disciple, Christian, clearly.
Interesting names.
Yeah, Lady was there prior to my birth, and then I was born into the ladydom. I don't really remember her. I've seen pictures. Rebound was fantastic, but we also had a cat named Licorice, Cuddles, and Klosny, which I don't know if it actually means the word cool in Russian, but allegedly when my sister went to spend some time abroad, that's what it allegedly meant. But Cuddles was an amazing cat, and then we had Jordan, who was the best. But I don't ever want to have a cat, ever. But we're
you also had Rocky.
I did have Rocky, but I wouldn't say he's my favorite dog, but I can quite clearly say that. And this is where I think the political side of you would be very good by nature. I'm very definitive. I can tell you exactly what I like. You don't like to give your top five. We will later, though.
It's not always black and white for me, Jonathan. I live in the gray, and that gray area has got to be.
I know you do. I know you do. I can also live in the gray and the nuance, but I think I'm attuned to my feelings and emotions a little better. That's all. So the dogs. Should I go first or should you go first?
I think you should go first on this one.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm telling you what I want. So hey, Jonathan, go first.
Okay, thank you.
Just do it.
It's so much easier. Oh my god. So Wag the Dog. I had never seen this movie before. And I didn't choose it, so whatever happens after this, just blame it on old Steven. Also, I, for whatever reason, have failed to seemingly add in the budget and the box office. So I say dollar budget, dollar box office. So you guys can
I can tell you what it is right now.
Sure,
the budget was $15 million. Box office return 64.3.
I did know it was 15 because they shot it in 29 days.
It's pretty quick. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 86%.
I got all that.
Okay, cool.
Not the box office, but I mean, this is your movie. If you'd like to do both,
no, you gotta get on your soapbox here.
But the runtime was 100 minutes. Barry Levinson, same director as Rain Man and Sphere, which I am a massive, massive fan of Sphere, and there's a huge population that absolutely despise it,
hates it.
Despise. It's like, for whatever reason, I was with Jeff Garboden back in the day in high school, and I watched Sphere in the theaters, and we didn't talk through the entirety of the movie, and then we got out, and he was like, "That's the fucking worst movie I've ever seen in my life." And I was like, "That's one of the best movies I've ever." It was like the complete opposite. And you would have been like, guys, I really enjoyed it, and
Uh,
occasionally, and
here's
sometimes I occasionally did not enjoy it.
I
Um,
didn't see Sphere. I've never seen Sphere. I went to go see
oh, really?
Contact instead, that came out around the same
Mm,
time.
also great.
Yeah,
But more people are going to agree with you that Contact is better, and it 100%. It is. 1997, rated R, comedy drama, 86 on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.1. And the synopsis is this, which is pretty simple, I would say, but it gets really complicated and nuanced, just like I think anything politically does. 2 weeks prior to re-election, the United States president, who you never see throughout the entire movie outside of the back of that person's head, lands in the middle of a sex scandal. A weird one at that. The president is caught making advances on an underage girl inside the Oval Office less than 2 weeks before re-election. And in need of outside help to quell the situation, presidential advisor Miss Winifred Ames and Hesh is enlist the expertise of spin doctor Conrad Breen, who is Robert De Niro. Fantastic role, by the way, by him.
great.
Towards the end, it was a little interesting, but nonetheless, who decides a distraction is the best course of action. And boy, is it a distraction? It's not just a simple distraction. It's like, let's just create war out of thin air. Interesting. And Breen approaches Hollywood producer, who is Dustin Hoffman, played the character Stanley Motz, to help him fabricate a war in Albania. And once underway, the duo has the media entirely focused on the war. But boy, I I looked at the cast. I mean, both the cast on both movies are fascinating. Like the characters, especially in the Loop, like shocked me from time to time. I was like, "What the fuck? that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
came from The Office." I was like, "Wait." And then Steve Coogan came on, and I'm getting into your movie already, which I'll take over because this is my podcast. I'm taking this over,
Go.
and it was just shocking the level of talent in both of the movies. But every turn and every like I'm getting well into it, but every turn of 10 minutes, I would say there's like a new story and new dialogue, new change of pace that happens. That's like, it
A
just
new
keeps
problem.
ratcheting up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A problem to say the least. But I've already gotten into the political side of like questioning, I guess, to some extent. But overall, did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah, okay, so my history with Wag the Dog came out what 97. I was like 13 years old. I remember it coming out, but I like I didn't understand any of the concepts because of 13-year-old that doesn't understand anything about politics. So it went way over my head. Um,
Yeah.
but this watch, it's like it's probably one of my favorite movies of 1997. It rocked.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was like you said, the cast was amazing, but even just the writing and just the setup and the jokes that came through, it wasn't like hammy it was all these like little just setups of what happens. For instance, just like I laughed out loud when they were trying to create the war scene with Kirsten Dunst,
Yeah.
and she's
The
worrying
cat.
about yeah, she's worrying about if she's going to get credit for this and she could put it on her resume, and he's like, if you put it on your resume, we'd have to come to your house and kill you,
Yeah.
and and then laughing out loud when she's just holding a Doritos bag, and then we'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
edit it in later. Um, eh, Fantastic, like little setups, just like not overtly like funny, but very funny. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I mean, going on the scene of Kirsten Dunst and the calico cat, I just know, is it white? Is it calico? It's like, it's so, it really makes you think about the scandals that really have been pervasive around like just our country in particular, but also the world. And
This
I
is a conspiracy theorists like little
wet dream.
wet dream right here. Like, oh, this is
Oh,
what they're getting
Alex,
at here. Yeah.
yeah, Alex Jones has like got this to a T, and which is, I guess, William H. Macy, who's figured it all out later in the movie. But the other things I actually love about this movie are some of the quotes were like very I don't know if powerful is the right word because they're more just hilarious to me. But there is one that was powerful, I believe, that was actually used by Abraham Lincoln, where he says, "Why change horses midstream?" And if you
That
like
was the
think
whole
about that, like,
commercial.
yeah, you think about that, like back in the day of like, if you're in a stream physically, can you think about this, by the way? I mean, this is like,
Yeah.
there's not nuance. It's just, it's not, it is black or white. Like you either have like Occam's razor, you either change the horse or you don't change the horse, right? There's
Are
no
there other?
nuance.
There might be other options though.
No. So either change the horse or don't change the horse. Those are the two options. So that's Occam's razor. Normally, if you have one option and you have a second option, that's Occam's razor. So like, but it makes sense. Like if you either are changing the horse or not changing the horse, why would you change a horse midstream? It's a very powerful statement. Like for a political nature idea. And that's in essence like, of course we want re-election. But if and then to coming to the nuance of where you would, I think, get and Mia the Neanderthal is out like down the stream. Well, he just diddled a little child. You should probably change the horse midstream, right, guys? Like, right? And then
What are we talking about?
Here comes Robert De Niro. He's like, not really. Look at that war. Look at that over there.
It's just
And
distractions.
it really made me wonder. And I'm not a political person in any way, shape, or form, but it really truly made me wonder in that conspiratorial mindset, like Princess Diana and these other various scandals, or I wouldn't say these are scandals, but like these other ideas of what is truth and what is like the falsehoods. But I think life is honestly stranger than fiction at times.
Well, I mean, life also imitates fiction in the sense that a few months after this all happened, everybody
That's what I
knows
was
what
getting
happened
to
with
next.
Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And what did he do?
Bill got his dick sucked. I don't know if you
Well,
know
yeah,
about this, but yeah,
allegedly.
allegedly. Do you know that when he was on stage, Bill's left-handed and he was speaking with his right hand, and he goes, "I did not have sexual relations with." I'm terrible, like Bill accent here. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but he literally said it with he was like directing with his right hand, which is hilarious because normally if you're a powerful person, you'd be speaking with your dominant hand,
Your dominant hand,
effectively
yeah.
a lot. So I actually have a quote, not a quote, but a mention of this, and I'll just have to read it because it's fairly long. Hopefully not too long. But during the filming of the movie, Barry Levinson and Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, they had an impromptu meeting, coincidentally when they're in Washington D.C. With Bill Clinton, which was like around, you know, I mean, clearly Bill had gotten his
Right around that time, yeah.
yeah. And Clinton asked De Niro, "So what's the movie about?" And De Niro looks over to Levinson, and Levinson, hoping that like he'd answer the question, looks over to Hoffman, and Hoffman. First of all, I don't even know if this is true. There's nuance to all stories, as you might imagine. But Hoffman, realizing there was no one else to turn to, he starts tap dancing.
What?
He's like, I can't
I
even
mean,
remember what I said. He just started tap dancing. I was like, what are you, like Rain Man? Like what is happening?
I'm going to
But
believe it.
But if you've ever I've met Bill Clinton one single time.
Oh, look who's name dropping here. Okay.
We're talking about Bill right now. And by the way, my basement is no longer as cold as it used to be, which is very regrettable. But if you've ever talked to the president of the United States, like it could be intimidating, including
How did this
the
situation arise or come up? Like, how did you get in front of the leader of the free world, Jonathan?
Well, I worked at a company, my first company that I worked out of college. I guess my first one was technically Cheongdam Institute in Korea. And then when I moved to, I guess my third, and I did some teaching when I got to New York. And after the teaching, I worked at a job in finance. And so at that job, the CEO of the company invited various people to come attend to a lecture given by Bill Clinton. And we all got to meet him.
That's very cool.
Can't remember a single thing he said. Not even like one. I just remember, people in advance of it. And like I was, of course, like researching Bill, not in the Monica situation, because that was well known, that he remembered everyone's face. And I would like to see him now because I don't think he would remember mine or my name.
Do you think he's got that kind of like that memory that
allegedly, yeah, like The Rock and Bill Clinton, there's a lot of stories And even Roger Moore actually has a story about that, like a kid that he met and like years later met him again. But I don't have that. I mean, I don't know if you do. I have that like Brad Pitt, like I see your face one time and that's it. But nonetheless, well off track. I just
what did you think of the movie? Like, did you like it? Just very basic question. Did you like the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna give a nuanced answer, and I just, sometimes in life I like movies, and sometimes I dislike movies, and this was one of those
Okay.
movies that I liked it. It was fun. It was fun. I would say at the end of it, I it was more of just like grunting through it to some extent until the very end when Dustin Hoffman and I were getting well ahead of ourselves. But I'll pause there. But I generally liked it. I thought it was a really, really solid political movie, but it made me realize I like the political movies that are less focused on this type of politics. I enjoy West Wing, for example, and I do
Okay.
enjoy more so the journalistic side of breaking stories and the intensity of a maybe not a car chase per se, but like Watergate type stories would be more interesting to me. And that includes both of these movies, which I can find ultimately better movies for both. In
Well,
a
yeah,
political
and
focused movie.
I think this movie was. I mean, the idea behind it, obviously, kind of like a satire. Both of these movies, heavily satire on politics and also media and Hollywood. Um, and you know, this is just a joy to watch. Like Dustin Hoffman's performance as the producer, Stanley Mott's, amazing, amazing.
You know, outside of Rain Man, honestly, like it's probably my favorite by Hoffman. And but even more so, Hoffman like grew on me throughout the movie, whereas De Niro, like off the bat, it just felt like Brazil again. Have you ever seen Brazil? Brazil is one of my
I
favorite movies of all
I
time.
need to watch it. I haven't seen it.
Terry Gilliam. I mean, I have Hunter S. Thompson on my arm. I can't even see what the camera's looking at, but Hunter S. Thompson is on my arm, and I'm a massive HST fan. And Terry Gilliam directed Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and not to get into Hunter S. Thompson because I could talk for hours, but like he was very Hunter S. Thompson was very upset with the first original director, who was trying to piece together the movie for his book, and just he got fired and was very upset with him. And then Terry got added, and he was still trepid, like at pause with the coining of it. But anyway, Terry event was the director of Brazil. It's just the weirdest, strangest movie, which reminds me of Alejandro Jodorowsky, and you should watch it. But nonetheless, um, it felt like that. It was a role that
Okay.
wasn't this like it wasn't a Godfather, a Goodfellas. It was like I'm outside of that spectrum of a Robert De Niro, getting away
He
from
kind
Scorsese, getting away from his general character. He's just
he kind of reminded
he's
me
even wearing.
of a little hat. He reminded me of like the fixer in Pulp Fiction, Harvey Keitel's character, the Wolf, where he just kind of comes in. He's there's a problem. I got to fix it. I'm going to change the narrative,
Yeah,
whatever it means.
that's good. Yeah, that's a really good analogy actually. I would say Harvey Keitel's character is much more direct. You would be like the Robert De Niro, and I would be the Harvey Keitel in these situations.
Got
That
it.
would be it.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's a good comparison. And also this, but also a mixture. Like Harvey Keitel was a kind of like a mixture of Dustin Hoffman, where Dustin Hoffman's like, have you ever seen that meme? I don't even remember who the cartoon character is. This is really terrible. But Dustin Hoffman throughout the entire movie, he's like, "This is fine. This is okay.
No,
This is fine. This is so." The exact.
that's one of my quotes.
This is this is
This is
nothing.
nothing. This is nothing. We can fix it. Like, and he references all the old Hollywood movies that he had to produce and whatnot that he never got credit
Which
for.
is an American Film Institute top 100 movie quotes for the last 100 years.
This is nothing.
This is nothing is
Amazing.
literally a top 100 quote, and he says it obsessively, but he also says it in other ways of like we're gonna be fine, we're gonna be okay. Like this is like this is nothing. We're gonna get through this. But it's funny because it happens so frequently And I wonder like how often that actually happens in real life, where real life in the political sense of like just the shit hits the fan and you have to create a war in Albania. And then the war in Albania, for example, like William H. Macy is like sitting down. I know there's no war. And you're like, you know, just got a bullshit in front of somebody's face, which is acting. You know, Dustin Hoffman is producing this war that doesn't exist. But do you think you could produce a war that doesn't exist while actually placating to everyone else that it does?
Oh gosh, that's a very, very good question.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
gee, golly, gosh. That's like a William H. Macy line. Shucks,
uh,
guys.
if I
I
had
gotta.
if I had all the people in place, the levers and pulleys and mechanisms that I could wield at my disposal, I think I could do it. I think I could make it happen.
I think you could too. No, seriously, I think you could. I think you have
I don't
the
think I
fortitude.
don't think I'd choose Albania though, but
Yeah, but Albania, you had Schumann over there. A
old
shoe
Schumann.
man. You had a shoe man who was needing
Yeah,
to be saved. Coincidentally,
he
who had
yeah, well
the
he
Morse code on his
on his sweater.
pledged
Yeah,
chest.
I
Yeah,
that was a brilliant, almost like savant like move by Stanley Motts to say, "Hey,
agreed.
we we need a war hero, and we don't care who it is. Doesn't matter, but we need it for the American people to get behind this war." Because what happened was, Coach, the what's the actor's name in Coach? You know what I mean? He's the candidate that was
Oh,
running against the president elect. Anyways,
I'd
he
have to cut
basically
off my hand. Yeah, sorry.
he basically said, he got in with the CIA and said the war's over, and they announced it on TV. Well, it must be true. It's on TV. What can we do? So they had to
Yeah,
pivot.
yeah.
This is nothing. They're going to pivot. They're going to create
Boy, do they have to
another
pivot.
another uh, just just basically
They're
they got
creating songs.
they're
They're
creating
creating songs
songs.
with Willie Nelson out of thin air. Hey, hey, can you write a song for us? And then they're putting it into. I can't. I can't. They're putting it into the Library of Congress and making it look old. Put it. Get this. I mean, like,
It's
does that
brilliant.
actually put this in the Library of Congress and make it there? Put some dust on it, and we're
Yeah,
gonna be okay,
whatever.
right? This is nothing. This is nothing. Like, how
I
does
have a
this
question for
happen?
you.
Does it happen? Sure. I have
Are
an answer.
are the mass people, like, are we this easy to manipulate? Not saying you and me, but
Yes,
maybe you and me, but like the masses.
definitely me and you. Definitely me and definitely the masses for sure. 1,000%. Religion exists. Look at us. 2,000 years later, 5,000 years later. Yeah, 100%.
So we just believe what's on TV, social media, whatever it is, and we go for it. Because this movie is
You know
before
what?
fake news, and I
Yeah,
mean it's very prescient.
prescient.
Yeah.
I do believe that. I think we're getting to this stage now where I hate politics. First of all, and that's probably why I
Do
like
you
the
abstain
journalistic
from
side of things.
politics?
You know, I do, and I don't. Regrettably, getting detailed in my livelihood here, but like George Santos was my representative, who I didn't vote for, just to be clear, so I don't get killed and murdered in my own home. But that's where I live, old Nassau County. But like I, this is live, but like I kind of regret that I don't know politics, but I kind of don't. Uh, and and what I mean by that is, as somebody that was into politics very heavily in college, I just found myself to be very. It was just very upsetting, and and maybe I don't even want to say I was like an intellectual to understand like what was going to happen, like where we are now to see what was going to happen. But I think anyone in the business back then, I wasn't in the business. What am I talking about? But anyone could see where this was going. I think and especially as a sociologist, I have a master's in sociology, and like if you go into like Baudrillard or Derrida and Foucault, who I wrote my thesis on, and like if you actually go into the creation of language and the breakdown of language in this postmodernism world, which I ascribe to of like being extremely far left, I think if you extrapolate or shoot an arrow with that type of ideology, you get to pretty much where we are now. And but soon after I left, I was like, I don't. This is really depressing shit. It's like you never have any answers, and you never really figure out what's meaningful. And what became meaningful to me, at least, was to some extent pain, physical pain, running every single day. I haven't missed a day in like 2020 days or something along those lines. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and mental pain of just like reading, a book a week. And to me, that's what's made me feel better physically. And I just was depressed getting too into politics, and I just couldn't do it. And so, to answer your question, that is my very long-winded way of saying I don't follow politics anymore. Simply put.
It's
What about you?
probably yeah. My my aversion to the current political landscape is just that we are so divided for no good reason. And I don't want to turn this into a political episode. We're talking about political movies.
It's a political movie episode, so do it.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But we can talk about the movies and not the politics that we currently live in. I'm very sad to see how uh, tribalistic we have become as a nation, and it's not healthy, and it's not doing us any
Yeah.
favors to be strong as a nation that we once were, or that we thought we once were. So I don't like pointing fingers. I don't like uh, placing blame. I would like our politicians to work on problems together and solve what is best for the common good, and not for their pocketbooks.
This is why I think you would be a good politician. I know
Yeah.
you personally, and I think you would actually be a good politician. I've been making fun of you this entire time, but I actually legitimately believe you would be actually a good politician because I know your heart. Um, to bring it back to being sweet again, I guess. But I think you actually would legitimately be very good at it. You actually do understand people when you talk to people. You listen to them and react in a manner that you're cognizant of what they're saying, and you're heartfelt. So I think you actually would be a good politician, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like a lot of people don't listen. They're always trying to think about the next thing to say. And that's,
Well, yeah. Can we talk about something else
yeah, sure. Yeah,
to get
let's talk
into something
about,
that
let's talk about
I want to talk about Schumann really
Schumann.
wanting beans. And so Schumann is Woody Harrelson, and so Schumann he's a crazy person. He's the guy that has the Morse code that has been orchestrated out of the Albanian War. He's been there for 12 years, or maybe even more than that. But I remember it's a 12-year period for
He's been in
raping a
prison the
nun,
whole time. What are you talking about?
which is terrible. And he's out, and he's on a plane with all the main characters of this movie, and they just find out he's psychotic and needs to take his medicine frequently and just loses his brain basically. But he's repeatedly saying, I gotta go, was it Thursday? I think was the day.
Thursday's bean day. Yeah, he gets beans. Uh,
But have you ever been around a crazy person before? Because like if you have, and I have, um, I don't want to delve into this too deeply, but like it's a little too close to home. And so if you have, it's not quite like this, but there are moments of like, I'm not crazy, but that shit's crazy. Like something is off, and I'm a little heightened awareness, and then you try to like change your personality to like try to move that person down the road of psychosis. Basically, you're like, and you kind of like will adapt to their own personality, and that's what they were all trying to do. Like, this is nothing. This is
This is
nothing, as
nothing.
Dustin Hoffman continually is saying. So they get the guy out, thinking this is the greatest situation ever, but this is something. It becomes something, and that was something. The latter he got with this is nothing, it became a more escalation of this is actually something. But he wanted his beans. But why don't you like beans?
Okay. I've had a lot of issues in the past with certain foods that I don't like. I'm not very picky eater at all. I like most things.
You were about to say you were picky.
I'm not. There's just three things, three and a half, two and a half. Sorry, I'm not going to add. I don't like eggs. I don't like mushrooms, and I do like some beans now. I used to like joke
What
like I like
kind?
jelly beans,
Lentils?
but lentils are okay. I'm not going to pick a,
You like
like
burritos?
if I'm at a
What about
buffet.
refried
So
beans?
here's the
You like
thing.
Tim
Here's the thing.
McGraw?
I've come around on black beans, refried beans, um, not really pinto beans, black eyed peas. That's not really a bean, but I can eat beans. It's not something that yeah, if it's on the plate, I'll eat it.
Do
You
you
know what I
like
mean?
country music singers who write songs about beans?
Do you have any suggestions that I should play later or what?
I'm living on refried beans. Tim McGraw, be here all day
I
and
haven't
night.
heard that one. Okay.
Well,
It-
I sat for literally 4 hours with my friend Chris Harrell. Shout out Chris Harrell. He was 2 doors down from me in Ocala, Florida, and we just called up on his. I don't know, I think he had like one of those like corded phones. I don't think cellular phones even existed at
the
the time.
Zach Morris phones, like the
4 hours. No, worse. 4 hours to get that song played on the radio. What could we have done? We could have built like a porch in that time. Anyway, nonetheless,
that's what you had to do to get a song that you wanted to listen to. You couldn't just
that's
click
what you
on
did
it.
before cell phones, I guess. You just
Yeah.
waste your life away. That's what happens when clearly I was still an obsessive person back then. Now that I think about this, ridiculous. But I have Schumann. I don't want to make this go too long, but Schumann, he gets out. He's psychotic. He eventually tries to, because he was he raped a nun.
He sees a girl and he goes after
Which is
her.
a lovely plump woman goes after her, and the father goes and what seems like they're still going to get away from the situation. There's a shotgun shell loose in the house, a trailer, and what appears to be like this is nothing, but it becomes something because he then dies, and it becomes another cover up for which there's another cover up. And not to get into the plot, I think we should just leave it at that. But
Yeah, I
Hoffman
think
did a great job of orchestrating this, but he wanted his credit, which I understand. And
it wasn't a
in a
movie.
loop,
It wasn't a movie. It was a
pe-
pageant. It was a pageant, but he wanted the credit.
people want their credit. You don't get credit for producing movies.
There's no Oscar for best producer.
That's right.
Like, what are you going to do?
But I will say this: I feel like I had one quote for you that I thought was terrific. Did you find it? Did I send it to you? I don't think I did.
You didn't send
I'm
anything
glad.
to me, but I have a couple quotes as well from this movie. Go ahead. I don't have anything to
Oh,
play.
would you? Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. So this is Robert De Niro's character orchestrating this. And he says, "Now, folks, this is a shitty business, and it needs no ghost come from the grave to tell us that the Lord willing and Jesus." I'm fucking this up royally.
That's
He's basically
okay.
saying no ghost needs to come from the grave to tell us that the Lord willing, this is a shitty business. And I was like, that's terrific. That was the one quote I was like actually trying to find, but I couldn't find
That's
it.
fantastic.
But I did. I fucked it up. But you can't save the world, but all you can do is try. Kind of cheesy, but this is nothing. Was fun.
My quotes from this movie was
Quirk of Fate.
same thing. It was the fixer and Robert De Niro, and he said, "A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow."
Yeah,
And I thought about that. That's so true. Like you need to act on what you have and make it work. instead of
I
trying to
disagree.
perfect everything. Well, if
I
you don't have any
disagree because,
time,
well, if you don't have any time, that actually qualifies it. But I actually disagree in the sense of like, to bring up another book that I'm currently reading, The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. He actually says that there's um, God, the two terminologies are going to escape me immediately. I literally just read this today, but basically, somebody, you and I, my wife and I, let's just say this: my wife and I are two individuals who are to a T what this is. She'll read a menu, and let's say there's a diner menu, and there's like 4,000 things. There's 40 things on the menu. She'll spend 8 minutes agonizing over what she should actually order while telling me, "What are you going to order?" or asking me, and eventually we'll settle on something. Um, and we'll always constantly think about what she chose even afterwards, like, oh, I don't think this was the best decision. But ultimately, like, the time that she actually takes in making that decision will actually make her slightly happier. But the after effects of it, she will actually second guess her decision, which will actually make her less happy in doing so. And you can kind of extrapolate where this goes from a diner menu to pretty much every decision you're making in life. Whereas I myself, in terms of like Occam's razor, or just like simplicity of it, I'm okay. I'm of the personality. I'm very okay with going into a diner, seeing 40 options, choosing one quickly, and being okay with that decision. And I'm also happier with my. I don't think about my decision afterwards. I'm like, ate it, and I can go on with my life. And I
that's
think,
interesting.
yeah, I think that's pretty much to a T the difference in what you're trying to say.
Well, what I'm thinking is uh, to go on to your point. Like I saw this in a video of like when somebody is trying to get an interview for a position, it's a good idea for the hire to take them out to lunch, and they can kind of see how quickly they can order, what their thought process is, if they can make decisions fast and quick, and if they can, that is a person that they want to hire because they can stand behind their
For what
position.
job?
Any job doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So that's like, this is like you answering me. Like, that's, I told, there's nuance to this. So like, do you want a lawyer who is dealing with $1 billion contracts to make a decision that quickly?
So there is nuance. You're right, and I don't think that
No, I
the
know this for a fact. So like, do you really want somebody in $1 billion thing on the line? You wouldn't want things to be a more political, let's draw this out. Let's actually look through the facts and circumstances. Let's see what their hand has to play first. Is there a motion to dismiss? Like, I'm just saying, like, that's not.
I,
And
I
that's
think there's
I'm talking about my
there's
wife here in particular, but like, I think there's different notions to this. But if you are somebody who is doing an entry level position and you're hiring for an entry level position that you need somebody to make quick decisions, I think at a restaurant, then yeah, 100%. I think that makes sense. Makes
that's
a lot
kind
of
of what
sense.
I was going at. I wasn't talking about like
Okay.
white collar lawyer, doctor jobs.
Yeah.
It's
Okay. I was just thinking of like a doctor. Ah, you're good. You're gonna be fine. Put them
you're gonna
through.
be
That is.
put them through.
You're good. This is nothing.
It's a little swollen. Just cut it off.
um. Anyway, I did have one last thing. I think that the wagging of the dog, or the wagging of the tail, is an interesting one. I thought of constantly for some reason, that and I forgot the meme that I was actually about to say, but there's a meme like This Is Nothing, where there's a little character who's like yellow, and like his house is burning down. I probably even have talked about this on this
Yeah,
podcast up to this
I've seen
point.
this meme.
And he's like, "This is fine."
This is fine.
Like, his house is burning down. This is fine. Valiant, Abeyo, you're going to kill me for messing this up, because he's the one that introduced me to this. Shout out Valiant. But anyway, I also feel like the hippo meme in reference to this is more pertinent. Where a hippo, you ever seen a hippo shit? It
Uh,
wags its tail like repeatedly, and like the shit
yes,
keeps flying.
Now, okay, that has been burned into my brain, and you brought it back, and I do see that. Yes.
So that's how I think of like Wag the Dog and political nature of Wag the Dog, like just like a hippo shitting and just like the shit's flying everywhere. That's what I think about this movie, and just general politicalness. If that, and by the way, Dennis Leary, I think, speaking of crazy people, like he might be legitimately crazy in real life. He's like the devil on your shoulder.
Oh, he's great.
Like you, like that crazy person who's like, nah,
Yeah.
do it. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Do it. Like crazy.
We're just gonna get these shoes and throw them up and shoemen.
Yeah.
And it's just that it's gonna be the symbol. He's
Have you
brilliant.
ever thrown shoes on a power line?
No, I've never done. That's not something that I.
You're not poor enough.
Is it a poor thing? I feel like it's.
Yeah, dude.
What's the point
I've
behind
thrown
it?
multiple shoes on a power line. Well, um, for me, it was just it was a fun thing to do when I was getting rid of shoes that were basically had holes in them. But there are other reasons that other people can look up to find out what people would do with their old shoes, and where those places would be. But I would prefer not to talk about,
Got it. I'll look it up later on my own time. You don't have to talk about it. It's fine.
But anyway, In the Loop, the complete opposite, but also very similar.
Before we go to In the Loop,
Britain.
we need to talk about some political scandals, Jonathan.
Oh, we do. Yes.
Yeah, we got to talk about this.
Okay.
So
I'm excited.
We got a top 5. We got a whiteboard. You got a whiteboard.
It's a new segment on our show, Top 5 Scandals. We're not going to do this ever again, but we're going to do top 5 in the future with whiteboards. Let's hear it.
Exactly.
What do you got?
So we got top 5 political scandals. I did a little bit of Google research and just from my own brain of what I remember of scandals. And I tried to be I don't want to pick the ones that are just very straightforward. But I did pick some of those.
Of course not, because that would be not Steven.
Whatever. But what do you got? How do we do this? Because this is the first time. Do we just flip and turn it around, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, you flip. So, So basically, in what I ever see in these like soccer podcasts, you basically just flip and say like, oh, this is what you got. This is what I got.
All right.
Actually, why don't we go through 1 through 5? How about that? What's your top 1 scandal?
My top 1 scandal here, and the top 5 political scandals, Jonathan, is the Teapot Dome scandal. The Teapot Dome.
Is that the Hitler scandal?
No, there's nothing about Hitler in this scandal. It's about oil reserves and the government. Yeah, basically, you can look it up, but it's a big scandal.
So are these? So you went through like scandals,
political scandals, government political scandals.
What is your scandal then?
What do you mean? For the Teapot Dome?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, basically, they had these oil reserves, and they had to. They were basically the government was selling them off to other companies and profiting off of them. I don't know. It was a very big scandal.
This is what I found hilarious about this, like doing research, and I'm going to love this because we're going to get made fun of obsessively, which is great because we have no idea what we're talking about.
No idea. But I like the name. I like the name Teapot Dome. I think that's a good name.
That's good. That's a good. So I didn't want to be the Steven. I thought about this a little more clearly in the Occam's razor, but like JFK. I mean, the fact that JFK is like still
is that a scandal?
It is.
That's a conspiracy.
A scandal. No, it's a scandal. I mean, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference? Who's been
a scandal is proven true. Conspiracy is completely different.
What? A scandal doesn't have to be proven true. It can be scandalous, your activity. But you can have scandalous activity.
I mean, they caught the shooter. They got the guy.
Did they? That's scandalous to even say they did.
I mean, you're walking on thin ice here. You're just walking.
Yeah, I mean, I would have chose all the president's men for this movie.
Okay,
it would have been different.
What's your number 2?
Watergate.
Aha! Me too. Watergate.
I mean, like, Watergate is so wild if you really think about it. Like, up for re-election.
Like, let's go and listen in on
No,
what
like
my opponent is doing.
the bug is malfunctioning, so we're just gonna get everyone to come in and try to figure out and reset this bug, and then they get caught by the security guard who just like calls in. I mean, what
Fucking
a
idiots, man. Idiots.
like Hunter S. Thompson had a field day with I mean the only president to ever have to resign, or I guess physically resign. But boy, I mean Watergate it should be number one, in my opinion, but Monica is number 3 for me.
Clinton Lewinsky is number 3 for me as well. Look at that.
It's Monica. But can I ask you a question?
No, I said Clinton Lewinsky. That's slash. I know it's
Can I
Monica.
ask you a question? Can I
Yeah.
ask you a question? I know you do. Why do you think she kept the dress?
Wait, she kept the dress?
Would you?
I don't know about
Somebody
this.
hasn't followed politics. Somebody who's followed politics less than I have, which we have talking about scandals, aka conspiracies, that we're gonna just be ripped apart for. But this is
I
fun.
think there was a cigar involved, but I don't know anything about dress.
She kept her dress, which had the cum stains from the president of the United States of America, where she sucked his dick in the Oval Office. To be absolutely abundantly.
Man, the 90s, man. The 90s. Great time to be alive.
If that's not a clip, I don't know what is. But yeah, we agree on that. Now we can just go ahead and just show ours, I think.
Yeah, number 4, I got the Access Hollywood tapes with Trump. If you can, I'm trying to look at yours. Yeah.
The Access Hollywood tapes scandal, number 4.
Do you remember that?
No, but I mean, yes, but like that's
Trump basically said he could grab women by the. Come on, man! Like this was right before the election. Yes,
that's
and
a number
5
4
was
scandal of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I could go like the highbrow route and do the Iran Contra affairs, blah 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 blah.
That's what I did, but that's
yeah,
a scandal. I know. That's a scandal like no other. That's like a movie that needs to happen. 100%.
Yeah, selling weapons to Iran, using the profits to
and
give to the Nicaraguans. I get it.
Do you get it?
This is nothing. This is nothing.
All right, what's your number 5 then?
Randy McNally texts. He was governor or whatever. I don't know if you know about this, but you should look it up. I put that at number 5 because this is kind of my bingo free space.
So I maybe I get your logic, but if you were to go down the rabbit hole and go a little less highbrow, if that's your desire, you should have gone deeper. And there was a politician, actually, I believe a senator, actually, of that same capacity in restrooms in the 1980s that I believe eventually got AIDS and died. But I could be completely wrong on that last aspect. But he would go into restrooms, and he was very anti. Was there a dog or cat there? Or raccoon?
No raccoon.
Okay. So he would go into restrooms. I believe this was actually posited in the Street Corner Society, and it's a book. And so he would take his right foot, or in the particular restroom, put it under, because like there was a partition,
stall,
under a stall to want to have sex with men. But he was of the he'd be purporting to other people that you should not have sex with men, and this is terrible. But he was, of course, the loud voice of that, but then would go and have sex with men. Which leads me to my number 5, which is my absolute number 1. Which is
pull it up. Let me see it.
Boonga Boonga.
Boonga. Okay.
I learned this today, and I'm just going to read it because I don't give a shit. This is amazing. The Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, his Boonga Boonga parties that took place at his mansion near Milan were replays of Roman orgies. Talk about a fucking scandal. He was a self-made businessman. And get this, he literally started his job. His wealth was built as a cruise ship lounge singer. What better fucking movie can be played as this? There has to be a movie about this guy.
It's a good job.
I mean, boom. See, See, this is why a politician would be. It's in your blood. It's like just bubbling. So he remained in power, like escalated from a singer, just started like coalescing against like people in the Italian nature for 17 years. Accusations of tax fraud, bribery were holding him. But the
Doesn't
most
matter.
important part, the most important part, he was. It's like I don't even believe this is real, to be honest with you. Do you know like Gaddafi back in the day, the
Yeah.
Libyan leader, the Gaddafi? So like he literally, it's so ridiculous. He had harems of young women and just like Roman orgies, just orgies, like eyes wide shut shit at his house. How is this
Okay.
like? Do you know like the was it the Sultan of Bahrain? Do you know the story
Okay.
about the Sultan of Bahrain? This would actually be my number one scandal.
Okay. Well, enlighten me because
So he literally has like on speed dial like 60 women who are extremely attractive. I don't know how much he's worth, but let's just call it $200 trillion. Just throwing numbers out there that don't make any sense at all.
he's got a
But
lot of money.
he has a country's worth, and so he literally has a. I mean, there's books written on this man. He can call anyone that he wants at any time, and the anyone that he wants at any time is like 60 women. And he has a harem of women that just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you got to come over here now. And whatever happens, happens. And there's a story about a woman that got out of that perspective and started telling other people about it. This is the Boonga Boonga. It's a great story. It should have been my number one. But JFK to me is like, to me, it's a scandal by the United States of America. It's not a conspiracy theory. Every president that has come into office has yet to actually provide the documents, including Trump. You can call that a conspiracy, but it's a fact. It's a scandal. How do we not know? We actually do not know. We think we know, but we actually don't. I'm just saying. Call it a conspiracy, but it's a scandal. Scandalous.
I like it. I like it. I like where your head's at. I like that you're questioning everything, Jonathan. It's good. It's healthy.
Do
Are
you
you ready?
think you're a lowbrow type scandalous person or a highbrow scandalous person?
I like it. I like a little bit of both. The lowbrow seems to deal with all of the sex stuff. The highbrow depends on more of the
Fupa.
interworkings of the government and what they do and what they can't do.
That's very binary. It sounds like something that I would say.
Well, that's what it is. So, in the loop, we got a movie here, 2009, directed by Armando Iannucci. It stars Peter Capaldi, Tom Hollander, Gina McKee, and James Gandolfini. 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Budget was £612. Don't know what that translates. Probably like
Wait, what?
yeah, £612.
So by the way, I purposely do not look up actually the facts of the movie anymore. I look up some of the trivia very loosely so I can be surprised and have a conversation about it now. I let you do the work. Can we just take that? That can't be right.
Yeah, it's less than $1 million.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, 612 now, or back then actually would probably be double that. But yeah, it's probably like $1 million. How the fuck did they get everyone there for $1 million?
Well, it was based on a TV show called The Thick of It. So they had these actors in tow.
The same actors.
Yeah, well, most of them, but they brought in some, I guess, other Hollywood people. But yeah, it made 7.8 million in the box office. Not a big amount, but 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's a good score.
Yeah,
it's not bad, So in the loop, it follows the chaotic and absurd series of events that unfold when UK Minister Simon Foster makes a careless remark about war in the Middle East, inadvertently sparking a political frenzy as government officials on both sides of the Atlantic scramble to either promote or prevent military action. The film offers a satirical portrayal of the inner workings of government, highlighting bureaucratic ineptitudes, just like my speaking, and power struggles and comedic mishaps. Tensions escalate as various factions jockey for influence, leading to a series of partial misunderstandings and miscommunications. Ultimately, the film
That's
provides a sharp commentary on the complexities and absurdities of modern politics and international relations.
that's yeah, pretty much to a T.
That's what
Like
it is.
mishaps and miscommunications, which in essence is
And insults.
funny.
A lot of
It's funny
insults.
because like it's to me, both of these movies, there has to be some, truth in the fiction of what we are watching because both of these movies are of a political nature, and both of these movies, people just say some outlandish shit and try to cover it up. And it makes me, I hate when people say it begs a question. It actually raises a question. It raises a question of like, why can't people just pause to talk and think about what they're going to say? Just a little bit. And what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I feel like this entire movie is built on that. Like, it's
Yeah, I
built on
mean,
the fact of just take a step back, pause, reflect, at least for a split second. And also, like, shit won't go down if you.
but that's not how the world works. The world works on sound bites and
Now
things
it
that are
does, but
said.
we're talking about 90s movies. Or I guess
Well,
a
this is
90s
just
movie in 2009.
yeah. But so the big thing that Simon Foster said inadvertently or whatever, he was asked the question like, does what do you think about war in the Middle East? And he said that it's unforeseeable, which
Yeah.
that was the spark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to say that. What it's very tame response of unforeseeable, but it drew a lot of ire in the British government, and also with across the pond with the Americans. And
You think
I mean,
so?
this movie,
I think unforeseeable means it's not going to ever happen. It's very it's almost like braggadocious. Like it's very extreme. It's binary. It's unforeseeable. It's never going to happen. It's very extreme. So like
and I
if you
think
take a stance in politics like that, if you're proved wrong one time, you're going to be proved wrong every single time.
right, and I think the idea behind that was he shouldn't have made a comment on it at all,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's where the rubber meets the road. Like
Yeah.
basically anything that he said about the war in the Middle East is going to draw attention to it, and
Yeah.
that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Unforeseeable, foreseeable, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
It's a game. But I mean, this movie is very. I mean, it's filmed like an episode of The Office. It's handheld cameras, very like documentary style. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, close ups, whatever. But the writing is what makes the film, and that's where there's not a lot of money spent on this film, but that's where the the humor lies in all of the writing. Like I can't even like list all of the quotes that are going on with this film because there's so many. Um, it's like a machine gun of
What
all
was
these
your favorite
quotes.
quote?
I can play it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's play it.
Yeah.
Linton! Linton!
Mr. Tucker, isn't it nice to see you again?
Are you fucking me about?
Is there a problem, Mr. Tucker?
I've just come from a briefing with a 9-year-old child.
Oh, you're talking about AJ. AJ is one of our top guys. He's a Stanton College prep, Harvard, one of the brightest and best.
Yeah, well, his briefing notes were written in alphabetic spaghetti. When I left, I nearly tripped up over his fucking umbilical cord.
Well, I'm sorry that it troubles you that our people achieve excellence at such an early age, but could we just move on to what's important here?
Yeah. That's also my favorite quote of the movie.
I laughed out loud. Like the idea that I think this is true, that in the American government, you have a lot of people, young people, that are trying to climb the ladder.
I think in every government. Wait. News alert. There are people in the American government who are trying to climb the ladder everywhere in life, in every single position, in every single job. People are trying to climb the fucking ladder. Of course they are. What are you talking about? You don't have to placate this.
Okay.
Stop being political. Everywhere in life, people are trying to make more money. People are trying to climb the ladder. So go on.
Now, what I'm saying is that there's this divide between what the British government feels is the staff members are basically elder statesmen, blah blah blah. And in the US, they have the people that are babies trying to climb the ladder, that are just recent graduates, whatever it is. And and you see that divide a little bit or a lot of it in this film. And I love that. I love that they use the dichotomy between the British and the US as like how they run their countries. And
what about Gandolfini?
I have some quotes from him too. I don't have anything to play, but he's
I just mean like the
he's my second favorite character in the movie. He's fantastic.
There is a I'm so sorry. I can't even like go into this because it's like terrible, but there's a like offshoot I can't remember her name, but like there's an offshoot reference to like Rofinol. I don't know if you say that.
Yeah.
This is terrible, but she No, it's an actual drug that is a roofie that the woman references, and like that's one of the when they're like on the stairs looking down, Toby, and so like they're on the stairs looking down, and she doesn't remember him, and it's so terrible. It's like, yeah, that's one of the side effects of like Rofinol, which is a date rape drug, and I was like, that to me, what I love very intricate, detailed Easter egg jokes.
And there's a lot of that in this film. There's a lot of that in this film.
I like that the most. I agree. There is, but it's too easy. It was quick. It was yeah. But that
Very
one I was
quick.
like, I don't know what this. I don't know what this is. Like, oh shit, this joke went completely over my head. But I really appreciated that one.
Yeah,
it was such a like vitriolic joke. But that's what like the original Office does with Ricky Gervais. It's fun.
Yeah. Did you ever see
just to be clear?
Did you ever see the show the Thick of It? You ever watch that?
No, and I've never even actually heard of it. But I have. I put it on my list.
Okay, that's fair because I know you watch The Office a lot. It's one of your shows.
I watched The Office and the American version, which for a long period of time, I actually thought the British version was better because I love Ricky Gervais. I love my second favorite show of all time is the Alan Partridge Show. For which
with the Alan Partridge Show.
Yeah, which is a Steve Coogan who comes out later and talks about Toblerones, which is also a reference to Toblerones in the Alan Partridge Show, which is absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, and I also love like Toblerones; they're fucking fantastic. But the original Office, I thought, and I held onto it so deeply and tightly because I watched it when it came out, and I love Ricky Gervais, and I was like, this is the greatest show of all time outside of Arrested Development. And I had to give it up because I think actually the US version is better. Full stop.
There's more seasons. There's more content. There's more to go off of.
None
of that matters?
It's better. I mean, if you stop watching at 5, there's no conversation to any human being that, and even Ricky has said this, like the first 5 seasons are better than what he created in 2.
What's your favorite episode? I have mine.
I don't want
I
to
have
talk
mine.
about my favorite episode. Rather not. I
That's
feel like
okay.
even talking about an episode of The Office gets you canceled now. Steve Carell was like talking about if we were to do this, no, we could not do this now. I would prefer,
That's a
prefer not
sad
to
state that we live in, that we can't have comedy.
Yep. Well, I've got a daughter, so there's that.
Yeah,
But I would prefer not to. Yeah. But
mine is the Christmas episode with the white elephant gift or the bad Santa. I think that's season 2. I don't know, but amazing.
well, that's about love. I mean, it's about love.
It's about love.
But
Yeah.
that's a good one to choose. I mean, my choice
It's very PC.
You were trying to set up, yours truly. I know what you're doing. You want another guest
Yeah.
or host?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. You're the host with the most. Like, let's keep you there. But yeah, what did you think about this film? What were your like initial thoughts?
First of all, I was shocked. I did not know about this film to begin with because I would say, man, Father Ted and Alan Partridge Show. Shout out Kevin. Just shouting out all these people that have no idea. I'm a huge fan of Father Ted and a huge fan of Alan Partridge Show. Kind of a mixture of like slapstick comedy, but also a mixture of just British humor, but mostly British humor of like just how far can we possibly press our lives to this? And it had a lot. It had a lot of that. But I have a question to you that infuriates me, like absolutely infuriates me so much. When I see people eat in bed, I don't think I'm angrier in life than people eating in bed. Do you or have you? And more importantly, do you eat in bed?
Okay. I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Oh, I don't want to cancel all this. I'm done.
Don't go anywhere. Don't do it. Listen. The bed to me is a sacred place.
Please don't do this to me.
The bed to me is a place that doesn't allow crumbs. If crumbs are in the bed, crumbs are particles of food that live in the bed or live elsewhere, wherever you're eating it, that shouldn't exist. I have a projector in my bedroom. I don't have a TV, and I will watch movies in my room.
Name dropping.
But I will never.
Like I'm so fancy. I have a projector in my room. I mean, come on, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean it's run by my friend Stan. He's changing the reels. It's all good. But listen, food in bed, even breakfast in bed, is not something that I subscribe to or promote.
Have you had breakfast in bed?
Yeah,
I've had device. Breakfast. Like, has somebody served you breakfast in bed?
Yeah, I've had that at a fancy hotel in Mexico one time, and that's fine because it's not my bed. But
wait, no. I wouldn't like. I don't wake up like so. So I wake up and I actually eat breakfast. Let's call it an hour later, and I eat eggs. And I eat 4 eggs a day for breakfast, and that's what I eat. Because protein, if you were to watch Huberman or any person that actually knows what they're talking about, shout out Rhonda Patrick. And if you do your research on anything humanly in life, you would understand beans and eggs are very good for you and probably one of the best things that you can possibly eat, especially in the morning. And they're not very expensive. Eggs are one of the cheapest things that you could possibly buy in life. And if I have some poor friends, and I think you do too, you should probably eat eggs too. But nonetheless, I have chosen in my life at 13 years old to actually eat eggs, enjoy them, mushrooms, and I have convinced myself to love mushrooms and love tomatoes too. But can I tell you what I feel bad about this movie?
Tell me.
Why do they never speak freely and confidently in public? But they are extremely confident, breaking the fourth wall, to speak confidently to everyone else.
Interesting you brought that up. Are you examining the movie in the sense that they
Every
don't
single character, all of them. I'm checking your watch. It's more important than this.
is
Every
time to stand
single
up.
you are getting a little.
Yeah.
So great timing,
Just
by the way.
talking
Leave
about
that
it.
in. But why do the characters like it's an extrapolated joke that I'm not getting, honestly. Like, why do all the characters have the truth to them that they can't be confident in public, but they can be extremely and overtly confident when the door is closed? And I'm not saying that normal people are like that, because or even not like that. Like, to me, I would imagine, like, in public you're going to be scared, but also, like, in the realm of politics, you're going to still be reserved. You're still going to be a Stephen Rankin. You're still going to be a person who, like, bides their words wisely. But these people, they're extremely confident behind closed doors, but are just pussies. All of them, when it comes down to it.
That's
Why?
politics. That's politics. Because people don't want to
That's not
shake
politics.
the well, here's the thing. Like when
No.
the media is involved, when you are about to be displayed on
Choose Wag the Dog. Break down Wag the Dog in that reference. They're confident behind closed doors and out to the
because they
That's
are
how you
in
have to be.
control. They're in control.
They're not.
They're in control.
They were never in control. They created a fake war. They were never in control.
They were in control of that war.
Look,
they were in control of the narrative. But
they're in,
when they have
and
to be,
so is all the characters in the loop.
in the loop, like when they are behind closed doors, they can rift and raft and curse out everybody that they want. But when they get in front of a camera, they fucking pee their pants, and it's that's the nature of the beast, right? Like
No.
yeah.
Mm-mm. You prepare for war, and then when you get prepared for war and war is in front of you, you are prepared.
It's interesting that we got to do the Vietnam War episode a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
and we got to see what was in the thick of it. All right.
yeah.
But there's people, and this is with every war, that are in the bureaucracy side of it, where people are just pushing pencils and fucking talking about shit and seeing what is going to be best for our image. And that's what's kind of funny about this. I mean, that's what's really funny about this.
The non-realistic side?
Is it non-realistic?
Do you know what the quantification for this movie is? It's I broke this down in my head multiple times. It's where Wag the Dog politically is believable, even if it's like you're skirting major issues, but it's believable. And it's, if you were an Alex Jones, and I am not a, like, I'm not even going to this, but like, if it's believable to purport what the situation was for Wag the Dog, but for In the Loop, I just don't believe any of it. Like, it's not
Nothing.
believable. No, not nothing. I didn't say that. I just didn't believe the fact that you have these individuals who are in politics, and you understand that you were in politics to begin with, and you can't talk to a human being. Because, like, I'm talking to you now, and people are going to watch this. I don't give a, like, I don't care. I mean, I guess I do care to some extent to talking about my daughter, my family, and things of that nature. But, like, I don't care when it comes down to it, how people judge me. But, like, the people in this movie, it's an immediate breaking the fourth wall. And I lack this confidence. Whereas, like, Ricky Gervais in The Office doesn't give a flying fuck about life. And it's a very different situation. Whereas Steve Coogan and British humor, and I should have loved this movie. To be honest with you, I hated it. Like, I actually didn't like it, and even remotely. It's going to be rated one of the poorest movies of what we've done since. And in terms of a misfire, this is the biggest misfire you have had to this date. But I just don't understand. There's a lack of complexity. Everyone is so nervous behind closed doors. And when they are in front of people, and then behind closed doors, they're able to have this confidence. But it's not just one person, it's everyone. It's not just one person, it's everyone. And I don't understand that because it's not realistic. And if you had like a complex, like a little more I don't know, even the lines, the line you picked out in terms of like talking about and making fun of like the British
A young
intelligence
staffer.
and the prime minister. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, that's the single time that I actually laughed throughout the entire movie. And
Interesting. Okay.
I didn't like it at all.
I
I would never watch it again. And
I
I love Alan Partridge show so much. When Steve Coogan came on, I was addicted to obsessing over the scene and seeing what he had to say. And I was just like, I'm done. Like, I just don't. None of this.
so
is
this
funny
is
to me.
interesting. This is interesting
So
because
anyway, my point is this. This is my exact point of this entire movie and why I think it's actually shit. Like, complete shite.
tell me.
As a British, it's so I'll compare it to Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog actually could exist, like, in a real world, whereas In the Loop is trying to be so not braggadocious, but like so extreme, but it doesn't go far enough to be so extreme from the regularity of human life. And so, like, oh, you have this fake committee, you have this like, what is this going to do? Your nose is bleeding. Like, it's so close to what actually happens in real life that it's not funny to me. And I didn't let and I asked my wife, who watched it with me, and neither of us found it funny in almost any capacity. And
Interesting.
it's pretty much the only movie that we're gonna go through that I'm gonna. I don't want to say I hate it, but like, I will never watch this again, ever. Like, I think it's terrible.
Okay. So let me be crystal clear with you.
Yeah.
In the Loop was a movie that I've never seen before. And
you recommended
Why-
this?
I didn't recommend it. It was something on my radar that I wanted to see.
God. See,
Okay.
this is the problem.
And
This is
And
because I know you when you recommend movies, it's better than this. It's my
you will
fault.
find that this is one of the lowest rated movies that I've done after the ratings. But listen, Jonathan, this is all a ploy to watch Wag the Dog. I just wanted to watch Wag the Dog. Whatever came of it,
Yeah.
it came of it.
I did
It's all good.
I still didn't like. I still actually didn't like Wag the Dog that much. Um, I think, to be honest, I wouldn't probably watch Wag the Dog again. Um,
I
but
I
do you
would
know
I
what I
would
would?
put it
Do you
on.
know
I
what I?
would put it on
Do you
a
know what I?
Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Do you know what I would prefer to do? I would prefer to watch movies that we enjoy.
Okay. Well, I threw a curveball, and the curveball sometimes is a strike, and sometimes it's a foul ball, and sometimes it's way out of the zone. Sometimes it hits the batter in the head, and they get a concussion. What do you want me to do here?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If you hated Perfume, you can say you hate Perfume, but I think I did better. That's all I'm saying.
Better, worse, whatever. There's no quantitative reactions to
No,
this.
I'm telling you there is. Yeah.
The idea is politics is
It's messy.
it's messy.
Yeah, it's messy.
It's messy. Let's get into our ratings. How about that?
Oh God. Oh boy. I'm not sorry. I'm actually not sorry. And I quantified this in a way that just get into it. So I'll do Wag the Dog first. So best performance. So Dustin Hoffman, I think, was the best.
Oh, he was the best.
I love, but still, I actually, I don't know, like the Robert De Niro role actually made me enjoy Brazil even more and makes me want to go back. But I gave it an 85.
Okay. I gave it a best performance 90. That was Dustin Hoffman. Like
Yeah,
we just saw him as the perfume and perfume. Like we get back to back Dustin Hoffman movies here.
yeah.
So it's great. But I thought his performance and his just drive of the character was amazing.
Um, best quote for Wag the Dog. To be honest, like again, I'm going to be different than you, like always, and forever. I just don't. I didn't see in either of these movies a very good quote. I mean, I both for both of them, I gave them an 80.
It's on
I
it's on
like
the AFI. It's on the AFI.
sure, but it's more of the connotation that's deriving itself in the AFI. Like this is nothing, but it's like a craziness. If you've ever met a crazy person, again, I go back to that point. Like if you've met a crazy person, this is nothing. This is nothing. He's crazy. Like he wants to get that recognition. There's more to that quote than just this is nothing. And maybe that's what you're getting at of like why this is important to you. But to me, like it's not a philosophical point. It's a simplistic point. Like this is nothing. It's three words. This is nothing, and you have to add context to it. I
There's a lot
like
of
quotes.
context.
I like quotes that are more
Stand on an
meaningful.
island.
Yeah, simply put.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gave the quote 85. Great.
Editing 80. The editing was good actually. I should probably give it a higher. I have.
Wait, what was the
reviewed
score? Did you get the score?
80 for editing.
Oh,
Score. Sorry, 80. To be honest, I would probably change this to 75.
I got
Watch the
75
Dog.
on that. But,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna.
just
I'm not
because
gonna
Willie
change it.
Nelson was creating a score into itself, like with the shoe, whatever song. Yeah.
See, again, that's like contextual nature of it. Like the score itself. Like, I'm not. I'm doing the score itself.
Right.
Is,
I
is
got
Willie
you.
Nelson's song good?
I gave it a 75.
Does that make sense? Like you're more of like like you're like sitting in like a sweat tent, like singing songs, and I'm just like quantifying things like as they are. But the editing, I gave an 80. There were some parts at the very beginning that were West Wing-ish, and I loved it.
I saw that.
And
Yeah.
then it didn't. To be honest, it floated down from there. I give it an 80.
I give it a B, 85. Like I liked it.
The
Good.
screenplay and writing was the best aspect of this movie to me. I
I
gave it a
agree.
90. Yeah, like it
90
was.
for me as well.
Yeah, it was really good. And the directing, to be honest, I would still give less than what I gave it now, but I gave it an 85. But like, I actually think it did capture even the mise en
Yeah.
scene, and also originally 85 overall, but
85 for me
85.5.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Very, very similar in that regard. As far as In the Loop, best performance, I gave a 75. All of these scores are going to be kind of tiered toward. So here's the thing, Jonathan. This movie was funny and spats, and
Yeah.
I took a gamble. I rolled the dice, right, and I
Yeah.
saw the Rotten
Stop
Tomato
rolling the dice,
score.
please.
Rotten Tomato score, and I was like,
By the way,
okay,
I've never rolled the dice with you. But I
like
would tell you if I would, no, I would roll the dice if I told you I'm rolling the dice. Just
I
because.
rolled the dice with this film, and I sent it out. And let me tell you, like, I
Did you get a
saw
haircut today? You look like you're like Dustin Hoffman and like Rain Man with shorter
no,
hair.
I'm just no.
Did
No,
you shave your
no.
head? By the way, when's the last time you shaved your head?
You were with me on that day, and I will never do it again.
Oh God!
Yeah, that's not
So
gonna
you
happen.
rolled the dice. Is this a political move here? Is this your apology of like making a political move? Like what is happening?
No. I wanted to watch this movie. I wanted you to watch this movie. I had no idea what it was about. I liked the idea of it, and I enjoyed some parts of it, but at the same time, like this is not a movie. This is a TV show. This is a movie that's a TV show that like could you imagine The Office being a movie? Like I think it would be better, but I
No, it
don't
would.
think
No, it wouldn't. No. It wouldn't. The Office would not be better as a movie, but this would actually be better as a TV show. But how dare you? You hadn't watched this movie? Didn't you say you
no,
watched this movie?
I'd never seen it. Never seen it.
I've yet to
like I said,
see a recommendation. I've
this
yet
is
to
not a
not see a
recommendation.
recommendation
This
to
was a
you.
blindification. This was something that I was like, hey, let's go into it together. Hold hands,
This is why
jump
you would
in.
be a very, very good politician. Very
Okay.
good. I'm very
best
direct.
performance, I gave it to a 75. This was
Me too.
a balance between Malcolm and Lieutenant Miller, who is James Gandolfini. That was my recommendation. Best quote, 70. Again, machine guns of quotes. Whatever. There's a lot, but there were some good ones. Best score. I don't remember the score at all. Fuck it. 65.
Yeah.
Best editing. I think it was good at editing the ideas of what
Can
they were
I
trying to do.
go into the? So I had.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember the score either. I was a 70, so like C average. That's what I had.
yeah. I have no
So
idea. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. Did it exist? I don't know. But we're going into editing. I gave it 85. I like the handheld camera, office space kind of, not office space, but office kind of style. Screenplay writing. I
gave
like
it
the
a
screenplay.
70
Which one?
for editing.
Okay, good for you. I gave the screenplay writing. It was good. It was good. It was funny. I gave it 80. Whatever.
I would like to see your numbers before we had this conversation.
I haven't changed anything.
I don't.
Do you think I
believe
changed something?
Yeah.
I wrote these 2 hours ago, right before we did this podcast. But
You
anyways,
promise?
best directing.
You shake? You shake?
I will shake with you right now.
Because I have seen you. The one time I actually checked to see if you actually were changing things, and you did change it live.
I did, yeah, and I've done that often because of your Jedi persuasion of certain things.
So this is what I mean by I've actually taken my numbers off of your so you can't see them.
Correct.
So directing, I have a 65. I think it was.
I have a 70. Blah 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 directing.
Are you just like copying me at this point?
No, I have not changed a single thing. I promise you that. This is one of the lowest rated movies. Again, Jonathan, I enjoyed watching some parts of it. Some parts of it, I was like, this feels like a TV show that just got extended
We do
into
not
a
have
movie.
to agree. If anything, I would love it if we disagreed.
I would love it
Like
too.
you
But again,
be you. But like
I chose this movie blindly.
and Wag the Dog. And Wag the Dog.
I'm so happy that I got to watch Wag the Dog. So happy.
It was better. For sure.
100%.
I actually thought like this is wild. The first like 20 minutes ish, I was like, this is it reminded me of Brazil. I was like, this is one of the greatest performances of Robert De Niro's like history. And then, like the whole movie extrapolated. And I was like, clearly not not his best performance.
No, he started off very strong.
It was strong, but then it was like, yeah, not so. Not,
I feel like King of Comedy is his best. That's my hot take. King of Comedy.